Everybody, Michael here from replicaAirguns.com, and I really like this product. I'll just start off by saying that this is the Umarex T4E TC68. So it's essentially a .68 caliber paintball rifle, marketed as basically a training gun by Umarex or T4E, like a trainer. Also kind of marketed as less lethal, also marketed as paintball. So you have lots of options here. And what's kind of nice about it is you can dial in the velocity or the power, how much CO2 or HPA air you can, this gun will accept. There's a valve here. I'm going to get into that later. This one basically is, basically the specs are 16 joules. Whatever the FPS is, probably going to be around 300 or somewhere in there. High twos, low threes. Which should probably get you there. Depends on the weight of the round and all the different types of rounds you might use. You could use paintball round, which will be probably a little lighter. You could use rubber ball. You could use rubber ball with metal inside of them, so metal inside rubber ball. You can use things like glass ball. You can use dust ball. You can use pepper ball, whatever you choose. So the options are kind of almost unlimited, and you can choose between 12 gram CO2s or 88 gram CO2s or even HPA, so high pressure air. And this guy out of the box comes with everything you kind of need other than sights, which is kind of weird, no sights at all. But everything else that you need to make it work. So you've got all the adapters and all the different things that you need to accept different types of magazines or hopper fed. And we'll get into what's all included shortly, but today's going to be all about specs and just my kind of opinion on it. I'm not going to be shooting it in this video. It's not the field test shooting video, but I have shot it, and the reason I shot it is because I wanted to experience kind of what it was like out of the box with nothing adjusted, with this little valve in here just set to whatever factory. I didn't check accuracy. It's just basically going to be my gut feeling. But out of the box, I'd say it's probably pretty darn close to 16 joules. It shoots pretty hard out of the box with the settings on the valve here as is. So they're marketing 16 joules, probably pretty accurate. And then, you know, there's a way. Now you're going to have to look into your regulations in your area, what's allowed, what's not allowed. But there is a way to crank it up. There is an adjustment screw here. Now it's kind of pinned. At least this one was. So there's a little set screw that locks the little adjustment screw in place, stops it from moving, I guess, or you adjusting it. And it's an Allen key set screw that's in there. And with this one, what's interesting is there was like some, I would say, plastic that had been melted into the Allen key hole. So they don't want you messing in with it, or they've at least gone to the extent to stop you from playing around with it. Does that mean you can't get that screw out? Absolutely not. I did it. I'm not going to go into all the details, but you can for sure get that little set screw out, which then allows you to adjust the valve and get slightly more performance with the included screw. Now, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but you can, long story short, you can get this guy up to approximately, what I've heard, 40 joules without having to do much other than replacing the screw in here with a longer screw, which is just a 6mm screw that you can use an Allen key one, kind of like a set screw, and just tighten her up, right? So there's definitely ways you can get more performance out of this that doesn't take a lot of work. So that's cool. That really opens up a lot of different situations you can use this for, because if you have a nice heavy rubber ball, maybe a metal core rubber ball traveling at close to, you know, getting around 40 joules of energy, that's no joke. That will for sure make somebody hesitate if they have bad intentions and they're doing something they're not supposed to do, and you're allowed to make them not do that thing in the area that you're living in, where you won't break any laws. Then, you know, have at her, and, you know, you're more than likely not going to kill anyone or hurt them extremely, you know, to an extreme extent. You're just going to put some nice heavy welts and bruising on them, as long as you're shooting, you know, not in the face or anything like that. And I would say I would for sure not stick around if it was me and I was at the other end of this thing. So let's start off with specifications, okay? Oh, by the way, this is in our Canada store. It's not cheap. It's around $600-ish, so that's Canadian at the time of this video. I don't see it in our US store just yet. Possibly will come there, but we do have it in Canada. And this is really, I'm saying this is more of a Canadian product, because we aren't, our options for any type of protection or home defense. You know, we're not really allowed to do a whole lot. We're barely allowed to protect ourselves in Canada, even without a weapon. So put a weapon in your hand and defend yourself, and you know, you can be in a whole boatload of trouble here in Canada. It's absolutely insane. You know, criminals have more rights than we do in our own home. It's kind of crazy. And the Canadian government, the Liberal government, is pulling more and more guns away from law-abiding citizens. And we all know that the criminals, they obey all those same rules even more extensively than the law-abiding citizens, right? They're like, they see these laws and they're like, oh my gosh, I was gonna rob that guy's house with my illegal gun that I got across the border, smuggled in. Now apparently, even though it was legal then before, now it's prohibited in Canada. That means law-abiding citizens can't have that gun. So surely I'm not allowed to have that gun. But I'll cease ranting. These types of products are becoming more and more popular because us law-abiding citizens are allowed to own them. And you know, how we choose to use them is up to us, but at least we can have them, right? So this is going to be a hot commodity. These types of things are going to be in high demand, in my opinion, especially over the next few years, as real, you know, powder burning guns are, more and more of them are becoming prohibited or whatnot, or taken away or bought back or whatever, you know, from us. So let's get into the specifications here. All right, it's a 68 caliber paintball, also shoots .68 caliber rubber balls, powder balls, dust balls, you know, paintballs, like I said. It even shoots the first strike ammo, so they're like a shaped ammo. The magazine, the 20 round magazine actually feeds it. When I show you that, I'll kind of show you what it looks like, but you can put those, they look more like the shape of a bullet. They're not a ball, and that's an ammo that you can use in less lethal guns as well. It is both semi and full auto. When I did the mystery box unboxing, I wasn't sure, because it's kind of the way that this selector looks. It doesn't show you like multiple ammo. It just shows you one that's in a box and one that has like an open front box. So it's hard to really truly know if that's semi or full auto, but I have shot it, and I can tell you that when you put it on full auto, it shoots in full auto. Now you can use 12 grams CO2. It's a dual system, and that's what I have here. When I get into it and show you around, I'll show you that. Or you can use an 88 gram CO2 with basically that one will just screw right in. Or with an adapter that it comes with, you can shoot HPA air bottles, and I'll show you that again. I'm not going to use it, but I'll show you what those options look like. And also it comes with a 20 round magazine, and I'll show you that, the one that's on here, that's spring fed, and it's a pretty cool system. It's easy to load because you can back that spring off by winding it, and then when you insert that into the gun, it lets go of the spring and all those rounds get pushed up. So the follower is activated, so it makes it super easy to load. There's very little pressure while you're loading it, so you can quickly load it. Actually, it's very easy, easier than a real gun with a real, you know, follower type spring magazine. But it also comes with a nice, got all these little bits and pieces with this little hopper attachment. Doesn't come with a hopper, but most paintball people that are going to use those will have some sort of hopper, and this allows you to put this on the gun, and instead of using the 20 round magazine, you use this little magazine adapter in the bottom so the rounds don't fall out, and you use it with a hopper. So you've got two options for rounds. So obviously the hopper is going to be a higher capacity setup. If you're using that with HPA air, and that, you know, maybe a 100 round hopper in full auto, that would be a beast. You could probably deal with a lot of zombies with that setup. All right, so it also has, it's a metal and polymer design. There's going to be quite a bit more metal inside. A lot of the controls are going to be metal, but you know, most of the metal is going to be inside. You do have the flash hider that's metal. You've got some, again, metal controls and things like that. Mostly metal stuff inside, but other than that, it's a lot of polymer or plastic. That said, it does weigh 5.52 pounds or 2.5 kilograms. Its total length is 33 inches, 84 centimeters, 12-inch barrel approximately, which is 31 centimeters. It's a smoothbore barrel, again, 68 caliber. And I'd say the trigger is closest to a single action. It's kind of got to be that way because the action is in full auto. You have to have a semi-auto style trigger that's more of a single action trigger to be able to do full auto. So a lot of the working of the striker or whatever is inside, the gas is actually enabling that. So the action of the gas is sort of probably some sort of internal blowback, but I don't know exactly what's going on inside because I can't see inside. I don't have X-ray Superman vision. Sorry, guys. Got a call. It's my wife. I'm going to take it just so I can let her know. Hey, wifey, I'm doing a video right now and you're on it. Can I call you back? I'm doing a video. All right, I think we got to the single action trigger. Like I said, it's a single action trigger. Kind of has to be because it's full auto. And the claimed FPS, it says 240 to 480. Now keep in mind, again, it's adjustable. So you have to be able to, you've got this adjustment on it. Out of the box, it's probably somewhere in the middle. I'm not even going to test it with the lower velocity, because I think most people are going to be more interested in what this thing can really do than what it comes out of the box, what the velocity is. But I can say, from what I've seen, and if you want to watch other videos of the 16 joule version out of the box to see what the FPS really is, then go ahead and watch those ones. But I think most people want to know what this thing can really do when it's maxed out. And that's what I'm going to do when I get to the field test video, is show you what this thing can really do. If you want to back it off to a lower velocity, lower joules, then be my guest. All right, so that said, the joules, in my opinion, this is out of the box 16. If you want to play around with the screw and get that that set screw out and just adjust the screw as it is, you can get a little more out of it, maybe 20 joules or so. But if you want the maximum, you're going to need to replace that screw that's in there. It's like a flathead screw, with something that can go deeper in there. So either a longer version of that one or something that can screw all the way in with an Allen key type thing. And that's what I've done. I'll show you the screw that I've used in mine. It does have quick CO2 piercing setup, and I'll show you that once we get into it. Once I'm showing you around, I'll show you the CO2 piercing setup. So that's cool. What that means is you can load 2 CO2 in it and then put it in the gun, screw it all in, get it ready to go, and then you just give it a whack on the back here. This guy, and then this guy here, this little red on the front, will pop up and show you that it's activated. There's one more thing you have to do to shoot it, which is it's a cross bolt style safety, is push that across, and now you're ready to shoot. So it's got a safety, basically 2 levels of safety. Give it a whack, that way you're not bleeding out CO2 or anything. Basically, you'll see this little red guy pop up, and then push the cross bolt, and you're ready to fire. All right. Now again, it doesn't come with any CO2s, or it doesn't come with any sights at all. So just keep that in mind. You're going to have to put something on. You can see I have a red dot on mine. You could put some iron sights on there if you want. There's all kind of options for putting sights on. You got the Picatinny rail on the top. You've got the M-lock on the handguard on the sides and the bottom. So lots of accessory attachment options. And again, there's that crossbolt safety for activation of CO2 or HPA air. It's not going to work until you basically push that across. It lets gas into the main body of the gun to basically deactivate it and get all that gas out. You just push it the other way and you'll hear it hiss. I'll show you that when I do that. And you can get rid of the gas in there, which then puts it in safe. And also it's, it looks a lot like an AR or an H&K, was it 416? Similar looking gun, doesn't have the bolt. It sort of has a similar looking opening there, but there's no bolt or dust cover, right? There's no charging handle on it because it's just not, that's not what it is. It's an airsoft gun, but it does have the shape and the look of an AR platform. It is intimidating from a distance. Most people are going to think this is an AR, and when you start pounding them with rubber balls, they're probably going to maybe even think they got shot. So hopefully that, again, de-escalates the situation. All right, now this gun is distributed by Umarex. It's manufactured by T4E, which is Training for Engagement. It is made in Taiwan. It does come in a cardboard box. We'll just go over all the little bits and pieces and stuff that it comes with. I'm just gonna let you kind of like see this, okay? So you can kind of like see I've already gone over all the specs, but if you want to freeze that and look at all the little thingamajigs there, the boxes, and see what's all being advertised there, you can do that. On the back, you also have, if you want to freeze that, you've also got all that information as well. So this video is getting long, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the manual either. You know what? I'm going to spend no time on the manual. There's just too much to look at on this gun than to waste it looking at a manual. So you check that over. What else comes in this? You get this magazine, and this is what I'm talking about. You'll see you've got the follower there, but if you wind it, that follower degresses into the magazine, making it really easy to load up. And then when you put it in, it just pops up and springs all those BBs or whatever, sorry, paintball, rubber ball are now active and ready to go. You also have this little guy here, which is basically just to stop the paintballs from falling out. So that's when you're using the hopper setup, okay? Since we're talking about the hopper, you can take the hopper off by unscrewing this screw. You remove this piece right here and replace it with this piece. And my light just turned off. I'll go turn that on. That's light is connected to my thermostat. So when the temperature gets warm in here, it turns off. Who would have thought, right? Now in terms of adapters and things, okay, let's take a look. So this is the stock that fits on when you're using an 88 gram. So you see an 88 gram fits in there, or when you're using the dual 12 gram, okay? So this is the full length stock. It's not adjustable because it's really, there's too much going on back here to make it adjustable. But that's the little piece that when you hit the back of it that pierces the CO2, and this just screws right into the body here. And then you can put this on, it fits, right? And then you've got this other adapter here, which is for HPA air. So you can screw this on. And now this becomes the same size as your 88 gram, okay? So you can see that becomes the same size, which is also the same size as this adapter. So you can use dual 12 grams, you can use HPA, you can use 88 gram. And when you are using the HPA, if you're using the smaller tank like this one, you've got this cool rear stock that you can then put on it. And there's an adjustment here for tightening it down. So once you get it straightened up or tightened up, you can center that. So it's center on your shoulder, just tighten that up and you're good to go. And you could fill it in here, keep it on if you want, or take it off and fill it. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many options. It comes with literally everything you need. Did I miss anything? This is just a little guy for tightening the, it's basically for tightening this because it's sort of oval and it would be very hard to do this. So this just goes on here and allows you to tighten that without having, because it's square. So being square is going to make it a lot easier to adjust that, obviously. So it comes with that. It really just comes with so much stuff. It's pretty crazy. You know, I just want to show you the size of the balls. I've got a couple different here. I've got these little black. These are like a hard ball. They're very hard. They're not a rubber ball. These are rubber ball. These are like hard plastic balls. They're probably about the same weight, but these are they're not gonna give as much, so they're gonna be pretty hard. And that's the size that you're using. You know, again, you can use different types of ammunition. You could probably even use aluminum ball in here if you wanted to. That would really hurt, but those might go a little slower, right? Being that they're probably gonna be heavier. Again, dual 12 grams. So when you put the 12 gram CO2 in, they go back to back like that. So drop one in first that way, and then the other one goes in butt first. And super easy to get it all set up. For me, it seems everything seems to be working really well. I want to show you the controls on here. So you have ambidextrous, that would be semi-auto, that would be full auto. That's safe. I'm going to just pop this across. So you'll see here, and you heard a little click in there, but let me get in there. So you'll see here that means it's live, right? So if I push it the other way, it lets out the air. So when you push it in, it pressurizes the gun. And there's a little click there when you do it. Now, I don't have any ammo in here, but I am shooting it at a rubber mat. So just in case there is, I'm gonna hit a rubber, but this is gonna be loud. Did I not? Oh, just gotta put it in the mode. Not really. You know what? I'm almost out of air, that's why. But because I've been shooting this gun, I've shot several mags, maybe close to 2.5 to 3 magazines, so 40 to 50 rounds. So I'm out of ammo, but that's okay, because if I wasn't, my ears would be bleeding right now. It is loud, because it's like 40 joules. But I don't know if I'm gonna get full auto, we'll see. No, there's just no more CO2 in it. Sorry, I can't show you that. But I will show you that when I do the field test, so stay posted for that. That's coming up. So I'm gonna just depressurize it. I wanna show you this valve. So I'm gonna take this valve, there's a little pin there that you push in and you can take this off. By the way, this would be your adjustment for the screw, okay? And then if you look in here, you can see I have actually taken the screw, and that is a 6mm. Basically, it's like a set screw. Like you can screw in as far as you want because there's no top on it. And so I'm going to show you what the original screw looks like. So this is what the original screw looks like, right? And you can take this guy and you can tighten it up because it's the right size. But what I did is I bought some 6mm. Okay. So I bought these 6mm, right? And you can see they're just like an Allen key, okay? And I just use an Allen key and I can tighten them as far as I want. And it's already longer. You can see it's already longer, but I can go deep. I can keep screwing it past the outer platform. So, but you know, if you want to keep it a little bit less powerful, you can just lower this right to the very bottom, screw it in as far as it'll go, and you'll get a little more power than you would have starting with. And there is a little, by the way, I don't know where it is at this point, but there's a little set screw that goes in that hole that stops you from screwing it in, and that's already screwed all the way in. And that's typically, well, at least with mine, they had melted some plastic into it, so I had to kind of scrape that out before I could actually take the screw out. So, you know, you got to do a little bit of work to get that screw out. Oh, here it is. It's just a little guy. So there it is. So that was in there, okay? I should probably screw it in so I don't lose it, because that's easy to lose. But yeah, maybe I'll do that later. I'll do that later. I'm going to put that in there so I don't lose it, because that's an easy thing to lose. Okay, so you have your magazine release here. It's ambidextrous, so you got that one on that side, that one on that side. Okay, I'll show you around in a sec here. Again, non-adjustable stock, but it works just fine. You've got basically AR style grips, so they're AR compatible. You've got an AR style magazine, but it's specific to this gun, obviously. You have the M-LOK foregrip. You've got the Picatinny rail on the top. Okay. I have a riser here with a red dot, red-green dot. You have a metal flash hider. Basically, the barrel comes almost to the very end here. So the barrel's all the way out. It's not a short barrel. You know, it looks to me like it's a plastic. It could be metal. I'm not sure if this trigger is metal or plastic. It's hard to tell, but the body's mostly plastic. You know, you have plastic grips, plastic everything, but I'm sure a lot of internals are metal. But let's take a look at this side. You can see you have the ambidextrous safety selector switch, magazine release. There's the screw for taking putting the hopper adjustment adapter on there, and you've got M-LOK all around. It's a really nice gun. By the way, that's how you remove that. You've just got this little latch there for removing it. And that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, this is just, it's going to be interesting to see what the power is. Hopefully I can figure out what the joules is, because I'll have to really, I don't know what the actual weight of these rounds are. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research to figure out what the weight of these balls that I'm using here. I'm probably going to use the black plastic ones. Maybe the rubber ones, it doesn't really matter. We're just trying to get basic performance, you know, shoot it in semi, full auto, get some chronograph readings, just try to figure out the joules a little bit as we go. So that's going to be the field test that I'll try and get to fairly quickly. I think we got all of that. Let's go over pros and cons and we'll finish up this review. All right, so it supports multiple air sources, including the 2x12 gram CO2, the 88 gram CO2, and the HPA adapter, which also comes with, you know, 2 different stocks, so you can use a stock for each system you're using, or whatever system you're using. It has that quick CO2 pierce system, so you can leave CO2 in it, ready to go at any time without having to worry about CO2 bleed or leaking. It shoots in both semi and full auto modes. So if you want to go to town, you can, especially if you have the hopper on there with HPA. That full auto might come in handy. It's adjustable velocity up to 480, they say. It probably depends on the weight of the ammo, of course, to meet different shooting situations. If you're doing training and you're shooting at people you don't want to hurt, you probably want to shoot a little slower. If you're trying to get rid of bad people from doing bad things, you might want to crank it up a bit. Again, it's compatible with both hopper-fed and magazine-fed setups, and it also accepts the first strike ammunition. I didn't really show you that in detail, but you can see the shape there. It's like, that's what the first strike, or the first, yeah, first strike ammo looks like. It's kind of looks like bullet shaped, and so this magazine will work with it. Obviously the hopper magazine won't, but you can, right, use whatever you want there. And it's standard AR style grips. It basically allows easy customization, lots of accessory mounting options. It's great for training, but also one of the best options, I would say, for less lethal here in Canada. It's probably going to be the most powerful paintball training rubber ball gun that you can get here. It's, pretty easy to adjust it, so that's pretty cool in my opinion. Plus it looks freaking awesome. Just intimidation factor. If someone sees you holding this, probably they're not going to stick around before you even fire a shot. They're gone. At least I'm hoping that's what the case would be. And you can choose the level of power again for your shooting situation. It is something somewhat, like I said, it's super intimidating. So that's going to be, just that alone, just the intimidation factor could de-escalate a situation rather quickly. People generally don't hang around to find out if it's real or not. If it looks close to being real, they're probably just going to bugger off. Find someone else easier to rob or hurt. And you have the multiple safety levels in place. So especially if you're using the dual 12 gram CO2, you can get it all ready to go, load it up with ammo, put the CO2 in. All you need to do is give the butt a whack and then push this crossbow, and you're ready to go, okay? So there's very little you got to do to get this gun ready to go, and you're never going to have to worry about CO2 leaking out. It's always good to go. So, and being the type of gun that's marketed at potentially less lethal, that's a major selling point. All right, some cons. It's not a cheap gun to buy, 600 plus here in Canada, not cheap, but what is a real AR going to cost you? And you can't even get them. So like, you can't even get a real AR. You can have this. It can work in a similar way without you breaking any laws or, hopefully going to prison, all for about the same or less money. So it's a pretty good deal in my opinion. And the sights again aren't included. I don't know why they didn't just put some basic iron sights, even plastic cheap ones. They could have just thrown them on the rail or put them in the box so you could put them on there, but you're gonna need to buy something. And I'd recommend something that sits up a little higher. Just the AR platform in general, it sits low because the gun sits low, and you might need to pull it up so you're not, pulling your neck down to try to see down the line of sight. So yeah, get a riser, get a nice red dot, or get some high iron sights. Something that pops up nice and high would be good. And also you have to do a bit of work if you do want to get the full power potential out of this gun and get it right up to that, what I've seen to be close to 40 joules, then you're going to need like a 6mm screw that you can make it go all the way down. And a little side note, I didn't have this problem, but some people say that when you tighten it all the way in as much as you can, now I didn't go to town, I tightened it pretty good, but I didn't like absolute, as soon as I got that, what I felt was enough resistance, I felt like I was pretty much topping it out or bottoming it out, I stopped. But some people said you might need to back it off, because if you screw it in too tight, it actually closes the valve. So it goes one step too far and closes it in some way, or whatever. So back it off. If you went too far, nothing's happened, back that screw off a little bit until it works. All right, I want to wrap this up. I want to again remind you it's available in our Canada store. I want to remind you, make sure you abide by all the laws and regulations. I'm not giving any advice of what to do or how to mod this or what you should do where you live. This is YouTube, it's worldwide. You could be watching it anywhere. If you're in the UK, you can't have full auto. This one is, I'm in Canada. We can do different things that you can't. You can do things we can't. So keep all that in mind when you're buying it, what you can and can't do. But I think it's a great option if you want to be able to use this for paintball, for dustball, for training, for potentially less lethal in your area. Then it's awesome. It gives you so many options, so many ways of using it, hoppers, magazines, different types of CO2, HPA. The versatility is amazing on this, all right? Again, check out our replicaAirguns.com. Check us out on on Vimeo. Check us out on Rumble. Check us out on YouTube. We're on all of those channels again. We're back on YouTube. I got some 600 videos up there. I got about another 700 to go. But we're putting all the new videos up there as I go. They're all going up live to YouTube at the same time that I post them on all the other channels. Check out our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram accounts. And again, if you're interested in air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, pellet guns, blank guns, less lethal guns, then go to replicaairguns.ca for Canada, replicaairguns.us for the US. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, take care.